And here we are, we're recording. Okay, so it's another of Armchair's interview. Today we have Jared Moran with me, and I'm really anxious to do this because I get lots of questions to ask because you're quite prolific man. So that's
Well, thank
and
you.
yeah, and we jump straight in because that's a lot of questions. Actually, I got 45 questions.
Oh, that
So
seems pretty light.
yeah, this if believe me, if I write it down and you write down your answers, that's gonna be a book. No kidding.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's good.
So okay, what can you tell us about yourself, and can you explain your nickname SLK, aka Shaolin Lamb Killer?
Okay, the name Shaolin Lamb Killer is something that I had actually picked for Lamb Goat, the message board back in 2000. The name itself I pulled from the Shaolin Temple. It's Jet Li's first film, and there's one scene in the film where I guess you could say the main bad guy grabs a lamb just like this and
Uh-huh.
just digs his hands into its neck, and it's like a whole 3 seconds of the lamb just squirming and bleeding out. And I think it was actually done. It wasn't didn't have a disclaimer on the movie saying that no animals were harmed in this film or anything. So I think they actually just killed a lamb for it. So I thought that was like the most hilarious thing at that time when I watched it with one of my friends, and I think we sat there for half an hour just rewinding this and just making fun of the lamb dying.
Yeah, yeah, I can
and,
imagine. Yeah,
and, and like saying it aloud is like, oh wow, it's pretty messed up. But
yeah,
that's what I
that's
picked that thing for.
yeah, that's Japanese movies for you. Yes, and we will talk about them in a few. Okay, I'm gonna repeat myself, and I do it all the time with the interviews. Yeah, but I really like to hear about people's experiences, and especially concerning the underground. So the question is, like, where, when, and by what was the band or the album or experience which got you under the underground?
It's going to sound odd, I guess, because of how far of a jump it went. It was Suffocation, Effigy of the Forgotten.
Oh my God,
The way,
that's nice. Yeah.
yeah, the reason it happened like that is for the longest time, yeah, I heard the radio, mainly a lot of new wave and, the classic rock station type of stuff. I didn't actively listen to it. It was just on whenever, around the house or
Yeah.
in the car or whatever. And I actively started getting interested in basically distorted guitar music. Just like grunge a lot at that time. Not Nirvana, but like I kind of like Failure and Dinosaur Jr. And for me to be able to find any of these type of bands that I heard like maybe one or two tracks for, I went to Columbia House. I don't know if you're familiar with the CD purchasing thing back in the early 90s. Well, you could buy multiple albums, like CDs for a penny if you guarantee to,
Yeah.
everybody in the U.S. ripped them off basically.
Yeah.
But the artwork for that, I was like, I love the artwork. I don't know what the hell this is. If it's good, I'll be thrilled. If it's bad, I'll just put the cover up on the wall. But yeah, that was just like explosive to me back in, I think I was 15 or something like that.
Well, if you mentioned the debut of Suffocation, I think it was, I if I'm not mistaken, it was 1991 or something, wasn't it? Or
Yeah,
1992. Yeah, so you were pretty young because I was young myself, and I'm a little older than you. So yeah, that was. Oh
yeah.
yeah,
I was born in '81, so it came in a little bit after
yeah.
to that.
Yeah,
It's like whenever Roadrunner got had to deal with Columbia House, that's
yeah.
why I was able to find that and Obituary, and I think I actually bought 6 Feet Under, their first album,
Oh yeah,
and
that
I
was
was like,
that was a
oh,
good one. Yeah, that was a good one.
it
Yes.
was a good. But like after listening to Suffocation and then comparing it to that, I'm like, wow, these guys don't know how to play guitar. Okay.
Yeah, you can't compare them. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just like, oh, okay, that's all right. I'm gonna put this over here and not ever listen to this again. Which is funny. I still listen to Obituary, but I don't care about Never Really Had with 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, I stopped listening to them after the Warpath, but that was my favorite album of them. So because
I do remember listening to Warpath, and it was just like, I think one of the first riffs I learned on guitar was Revenge of the Zombie.
oh
Because
yeah,
it was like,
that's the three chord. Yeah,
yeah, the fucking cheese dick as hell.
there's a death metal punk riff on that, but it's
Yeah,
very catchy. Yeah.
yeah, catchy. You got it right. Death metal punk. I mean, if they had more of that punk energy, maybe it would have been better.
Yeah, well, we never know.
No, yeah, we unfortunately do know how that went.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been active and you're still active in a lot of bands, a lot of projects, and I try to, go through them chronologically, but it's quite a hard task, it's a lot of stuff to do. Anyway, the first thing I want to ask is, because some of your projects and the acts you've been involved with are listed in the Metal Archives, yes, and some are listed on your Facebook page. So I was going and combine the knowledge.
Okay.
But are there any projects or bands almost nobody knows of? There's no mention of them, no, either on Metal Archives or Facebook.
There's a few. I mean, like the very first death metal band I drummed in, that was, I think, Clockwork Death Toll, some goofy name. I mean, I was like 19 and was playing with like a 17-year-old and two 15-year-olds.
Oh yeah.
And we played one show. We didn't do anything else. Guitars got hooked on meth or whatever, so
Oh.
no need to deal with them anymore. I'm trying to think of. I mean, there's a couple of other bands that like I practiced a lot with them, and we played like a few shows. There's a Morth Varger, even though there is a Morth Varger on Metal Archives. For some reason, the singer thought that would be great just to continue with that name.
Mm-hmm.
There was another band that I played live in called The Awesome. It was like kind of it was grind, but more thrashy riffs in longer songs. I mean, I guess you could say like Later Day Pig Destroyer, that I actually just did vocals in, and mainly all I did was get pissed drunk and run into people, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know how we kept on getting shows. There's a couple of bands that are currently going on. Like I just finished drum tracking for Obsidian. I think it's Obsidian Hooves, I want to say it's going to be called. The vocalist is tracking his vocals right now, so that's going to be out soon. Featured full length, which is going to be kind of grindy power violence. It's kind of like along the lines of Graf Orlock or Asterisk, that kind of art grindy type of bullshit. I'm doing drums and vocals and that. Just finished up the vocals. I'm trying to finish up the artwork for it right now.
Yeah.
The guitar, been bugging me constantly to finish up everything. I have a black metal project that the singer kind of doesn't want me to really talk about, even though I have some drum videos up of me tracking the drums. But he wants to try to be Mr. Mysterious or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I guess mention that, even though I think it's even on my page on Facebook too. So I got another project coming up with one of my friends, Robert, called Battletoads. Just basically playing Blasphemy, except about frogs, amphibians, and
Yeah.
they're kind of stupid. Can't help it.
Yeah.
I think
That's just amazing, you know. And with what you mentioned right now, you know, that I haven't counted them, but they come like 6 more bands I haven't known, you know, and they're like, oh my god, you know. Anyway, anyway,
there's actually 2 other ones. One that I'm just waiting on 2 more vocal tracks from the singer called Tactic Annihilation. Pretty much total grave upheaval worship. I tracked that actually last Saturday and mixed everything down during this week. So just waiting for the rest of his vocals.
Good. Okay, but let's go to the start, at least what I can find. And it started, apparently, it started with old woman with no teeth.
I guess you could say that. It's closest. I actually was in recovery period just slightly longer. But,
yeah, I couldn't find anything about the recovery period. I got a question about it. Don't worry, I'm gonna ask about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
but,
so 2002, it gives me for a start for the old woman with no teeth, and it should be a noise grind project or band. Yes. So what was the motivation behind it? Like, why? How you start with that, or you know, inspiration or influence behind it?
The singer of that, Anderson Cook, you know, invited me to go to a show in New Orleans to go see.
Jared, I just need to ask you, because when you walk it, you start to cut, you know, in the video.
Okay.
There's a few spots you're absolutely spot on, you know, but when you go in, I don't know if there's some voltage or something, you know, and it's cutting the signal. So sorry about that.
It's just point right here. I kind of just stand right here. It's hard for me to actually sit down and just talk. I get extremely animated. But I can be right here if this is fine.
Yeah, that's okay. I think that's the best spot here now.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you. Sorry about it. Sorry about it.
No, that's okay. Yeah, so my friend Anderson Cook, he was also on Lamb Goat, and you know, invited me to go to New Orleans to go see Arab on Radar and the Locust. Hadn't really listened to either of them at that time, so I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. He's like, oh, you'll love the Locust. I actually like Arab on Radar far more, but those 2 bands were the inspiration. And I was like, we should do something like that, and kind of just went from there. Just like nutty, crazy, you know, sound like a band falling downstairs. And we actually have a song called that. So that was the main inspiration, was just to, you know, just be disgusting, fast, and annoying as possible. And somehow we kept on getting booked for shows as well.
Yeah. So actually, did you achieve the goal to be annoying?
Yes. About every show that we played, at least the first, I think 4, we had people like actively leaving. While it was the same experience like whenever I was watching Arab on Radar play to a packed house of like 150 people at One Eye Jack's, and as they played, I think there was maybe 6 people left in the actual club, and when they were done, that's when everybody came back in to watch the Locust.
Oh my god!
It was just that abrasive. So that's what we were going for. And then, like, the last, I think, couple of shows we played, people were like, oh, no, we love this. I'm like, why? Go away.
No, well, no. Actually, you should be disappointed then, yeah?
Yeah, that's what it was. Now we actually have to start hitting people or throwing stuff at people.
Yeah. Yeah. Other band from the beginning, from your, you know, the early periods should be driven by suffering.
Yes.
And this is that's complete opposite, because what I can find was sounder metal / hardcore stuff. Is it correct?
That is correct. They actually existed longer before I joined the band on bass, and then I did a brief stint on guitar for second guitar. That's with my friend Marshall McAdams and Brian Looney. And then we had like a slew of other members like James. His name escapes me, but he plays or played bass in Goat Whore. I think he still does. He's been the last one that played with them, and Ian Ball. I didn't actually play with Robert, but a whole slew of different other members. They had an established sound when they lost their basses. I had been coming to a lot of shows that they had been playing, and they just kind of asked me because all they knew me as the kid with the Morbid Angel shirt, because that's all I pretty much wore.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So those basically. Oh, I heard that you play bass. I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay. We need a bassist. You want to come play? Sure. All right. Brian, show them all the songs. We got a show in a week, or I think it was actually like 3 days, something like that. It was just like insane.
Oh my God!
Here, learn the set and you just wing it. Well,
no, that's weird. Yeah, that's insane. This next question, I'm gonna enjoy it hopefully because there's a stuff I am familiar with. Okay. And we were talking about a few other bands of yours, which there's no information whatsoever, or at least I couldn't find any. And especially, yeah, it's like a recovery period. Seppuku, the Nautilus, Bunker Buster, S&M Party, The Man Behind the Sun. And I see that you're a fan of Japanese cinema, or in the sense of The Man Behind the Sun is a Taiwanese cinema, because I think it's a Taiwanese movie about the unit 731, obviously the infamous unit Japanese. So are you a fan of Japanese or the Asian cinema, this gore stuff?
I am. I am quite. I'm a big fan of just like weird and gory films in general. I like films that are weird. So you're like directly.
Yeah, you cutting me. You cutting off again.
All right. So I know which wall it is. So I'm against the far now. That should be better because it was the same.
This is better. This is better.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously the culture, influence like these movies, or I'm definitely see the manga or anime or hentai in your Shokusu Gukan, if I read correctly.
That's correct.
Yeah. Any influence from the musical, side, like in Japanese, they are big in the noise or this grindy stuff.
Yeah, like Merzbow, Defiled, I like a lot. D-Clone, Death Church. I'm pretty much anything. If it sounds good, I'm about it. I don't really go actively seek out specifically like any type of band from a certain area. I'm looking up certain like D-beat bands, and that's how I came across D-Clone. And it's like, oh, they're from Japan, and here they played with like 324. I want to say I think they're Japanese, or maybe I'm thinking of a different band that's just like a bunch of random numbers, like I think sub 19 or something. But I just like Corrupted.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's just like, no, these are good bands. Just happens to be from Japan. It's not like I like a weeb or anything. Things I just like.
Yeah, but it's great. It clicks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we were staying with the Japanese, related stuff because you got a few projects, and I will quote Uzumaki, which gives me the vibe that it's a manga stuff. Yeah.
That's directly from the manga.
We were mentioning Shakusu Gukan, which is this tentacle porn.
and mainly picked it just because it's that. They're not even like I watch hentai. It's just something that's hilarious to me. It's a whole subgenre of this. And
I've seen some stuff, and I can't even pronounce that because obviously it's weird. And with some stuff, I even refuse to watch because there's something like it's like no, thank you very much. So yeah,
exactly. It's kind of like that. That's great that you created this. This exists for God knows whatever reason.
Yeah, for no reason at all, I would say. There's no.
You're correct. I mean, it's just like some of the mods I see for Skyrim. Some of the things that they like. Oh, somebody sat and programmed tentacle rape monsters
Yeah.
to put in Skyrim so you can put people in it for whatever. I was just like, why, God?
Yeah, but that's popular in Japan, as Japan, I would say. And there's also, and we will talk about it later on as well, is Ishimura. We're on one of your older projects, and there's a reference to Death Space game.
Yes, correct.
I tried to play it actually, because I was hooked up on the concept, and I couldn't pass the first screen. I was like, no, I'm not the guy, to be, who can play that. So I would just leave it off. But yeah, obviously I'm aware of that. Yeah,
I absolutely love the series. I mean, the third one kind of dropped the ball, but the first two are just fantastic. I ran through the first one twice. I did the whole, run through with only the plasma cutter. Then the second one, they did it with just a plasma cutter. And the third one, you don't even get an achievement, but I still ran it all the way through with a plasma cutter. I refuse to use any of the other weapons.
nice one. That's it. That's a serious gaming there.
I mean, I'm not that great, but I'm only good at a few things.
Okay, and that's from Japanese, and you also draw some stuff from Nordic mythology with your project Drogue.
Yes.
Anything else you use as a background to your lyrical themes, like any other world mythology, or something?
A lot of stuff is based around basically, I guess you could say, nerd and geek stuff. There's a lot. Spawning Bats is based off of Doom.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of it's based on either like video games or some part of cinematography, something that books, like why Zordor X is pulled from Imagica
Yeah.
from Clive Barker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is, and it's like not just like I'm influenced from where I took it from, but it's an interesting name.
Yeah.
When you look at it, the words are. I like the way that they are spelled out. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Obviously, another influence is H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes,
Yeah.
that Filth Eater is a lot of influence for that. Like the last album is directly all about Lovecraft, all the elder gods, except I just don't directly come out and state that because, that's been done. I just wanted to do my take on it, but still it's the same exact source material.
Well, Lovecraft is my favorite as well, so that's a, obvious, not to it. And I did you might know, you might not. I did an article about the Lovecraft influence on the metal genre. So I'll send you a link for that because it was
Yes,
quite nice.
please.
It was in 2012, so a few bands are no longer existing, but it was still nice to see how many bands drawing the influence from the master. So yeah. Also, obviously, J.R.R. Tolkien. That's at least one project you were inspired by his
Absolutely.
mythology, we can say, the created mythology, because it was, or horror movies about occultism, because you have a few occult projects. Which kind of occultism we're talking about? Crowleyan or?
It's more just of a overall stance. It's not like any specific thing. I like reading about different, I guess like the different spiritualities, things that are unorthodox, things that are just kind of odd. It's not like, oh yeah, I really like this one or that one or anything like that. It's just more of like, oh, this is kind of cool. Let me kind of pull from that and do a spin on it. Maybe like almost like here, set up the scene and your normal maybe based occult ritual going on.
But it's not
movies.
It's not like you're setting up, the ritual yourself. You don't sacrifice, everything around you.
Yeah, none of that. I mean, it's more like, okay, yeah, this is good set dressing for whatever I want to talk about. I like the aesthetics. What it boils down to.
Yeah. So it's basically the idea behind it, not the practical application to it.
Yeah. I don't adhere to any of it, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
I just want to read about it, and I'm good.
I got two projects to discuss, and I picked them because there's interest in the lyrical themes. And the first is the Lauchin, and
Okay.
that is like about absinthe and alcohol consumption. This is
That's
like
correct.
this is I would say original. I haven't heard about absinthe in a long time, you know. So how come you come up with that kind of like inspirational or lyrical theme?
It's I drink absinthe. I don't drink as much as I used to, but I just like the entire process of, I don't bother with the sugar cube. I just like watching it change from clear to to milk, and it's a different type of drunk. It's more of an aware drunk. I mixed a lot of music while doing that. I painted a lot of paintings doing that. Um, don't drink it as much anymore because I have moved to drinking a bit more of it's Razook, which is that's the brand name, but it's Arac, which has a similar flavor profile.
Yeah.
I just really like it, and I just kind of went with the concept because I mean I was when I first started drinking it, I was telling everybody they needed to, and would send them videos of it, like, oh, look, check this out, and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you should drink it. You get messed up. You should become an alcoholic.
Well, yeah, I remember my experience with absinthe because obviously when you're younger you have to try it, you know, and it was like, oh my God, it was so strong. Like, I thank you very much. You know, my toes, you know, was like shrinking, you know, when you look. No, it was too strong for me. So no, that I leave it for other people, you know.
Yeah, I actually liked it because it was so strong, and like I let my wife try it, and she was like, "This tastes like formaldehyde. Why? Why do you like this?" I'm like, I just do.
Yeah. Okay, and you mentioned already it's the project called Spawning Walls, and the lyrical theme is Doom video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Uh,
another gaming game, you know. So yeah, so yay! Because
yeah.
I played the Doom, not the latest installment, Doom Eternal, but the previous on my Xbox, you know. And obviously I don't have it as much time as I used to have. So it's just like a couple of bang 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 bang. Okay, switch it off. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
uh, what about this as for inspiration? What inspires you like Doom the video game? It's just like random, like okay, I find it interesting as a
It was.
concept.
Yeah, me and Ryan kind of talked about it. More so for the love of the original ID game on PC, like the
Yeah,
original Doom
of
and
course. Yeah.
Doom 2. Just just the entire concept of discovering hell on Mars or hell on the moon or wherever the hell. And I don't know, it was just kind of fascinating. I mean, you could kind of develop your own mythos within it.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah, it was
ha-
just.
have you seen the latest movie about it, the Doom Annihilation?
I actually have. I
That's,
watched it a while back. The most unbelievable thing to me is the fact they have like 100-pound girl carrying supposedly the BFG that
yeah.
300 pounds. I was like, yeah, this is kind of horse shit. I mean, she doesn't even have as much muscle mass as my wrist.
Yeah. But
So
to be honest, I like the movie. It was not that bad as people try to make it.
I didn't think it was bad per se. I actually enjoyed it. I kind of want to watch it again. I was pretty drunk by the time I sat down to watch it, but that's the one thing that I actively disliked was just like there's no way she's supposedly throwing these monsters around and picking up these guns that weigh more than her.
Yeah.
That kind of is the thing that took me out of it. Like
Yeah.
at least look like you have some muscle mass. I mean, Christ.
Yeah. But I because I watched it when it come out, you know, and even bought the Blu-ray of it, and then I rewatched the original Doom movie with The Rock and Carl Urban, and to be honest, I like it a little bit more than the first time, but still I would prefer the second movie better because it was like more, I would say, more true, you know, it was truer to original concept.
Yeah.
It was
I, and
obviously,
I,
Yeah, it was B movie, you know, and you see the lack of a budget and everything, but it was pretty
I
close.
thought it was well done. It was kind of like if they took Event Horizon and
Yeah,
kind of took that kind of concept. I'm trying to think of and like parts of like Jurassic Park in concept
yeah,
and threw them together. It's like, oh, okay, well, it was enjoyable. It was just,
yes.
your basis of physicality just is off.
Oh, okay.
I can accept monsters from hell coming through a portal on the damn moon and space marines. I can't accept that. I can't, 100-pound girl carrying 200 pounds worth of gear.
Yeah. Sometimes it happens. Probably in the movie, definitely.
Probably I've just never seen it in my actual
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to your bands because we got still a lot to cover,
No problem.
and obviously we got different genres. You know, I got a noise, grindcore, black thrash, death metal, gore grind, sludge, doom, and even power metal, and we will talk about it as well. And from all the genres you've been involved with, which one would you pick as your favorite?
I would say death metal. I mean, it's always been my favorite. I love grind. I love black metal, but I always come back to death metal. I listen to death metal at least every single day throughout when I'm working and whatnot. Uh, there's always just so much material that you can absorb. There's so much diversity within the genre, and there's so much I can do within it myself. You can go for your primal, you know, disgusting bestial riffs like something from Cyanide, then go into some dissonant washes like Portal and Grave Upheaval. Or you can get your techie melodic type stuff like Death or Atheist and whatnot. I mean, there's just so much that you can absorb,
Yeah.
so much to explore.
So in 2010, you were involved with the technical prog death metal band Cosmic Atrophy.
Yes,
Yeah. Any recollection of the activities there?
it was kind of an aggravation, not really due to any of the members. It was more so that I was working out of town a lot, and Corey asked me to record drums for the second album, and I recorded. Like I was able to come into town because I was going out for 2 weeks at a time, come home for 2 days, go back out for 2 weeks. And I was doing that for almost the entire year. And, I recorded 3 different times. The first time, the guy I went to, he botched the drums up. I don't know what he did, but he cut it up to where all the files didn't match up. So I had to wait basically for another month, go to somewhere else to record. Corey didn't like how I approached the project. I recorded a third time. Again, he didn't like how it was. And I finally just said, whatever, it doesn't matter. He said, I'm just going to program the drums. I said, good, just don't put my name anywhere on it. And that's about where that went.
Yeah. So you basically you're not playing on the recording material on there.
No, I never played on that first album. That was all, I think, Corey on the entire thing, programming the drums. And, the second album, I'm assuming he scrapped somewhere. I had, I think, a copy of it with my drums on it, but I've lost that since then because I haven't came across it again. And I know he only just now picked up the project again, asking Phil to do leads.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this one it hits closer to my home because obviously I'm from Slovakia, and this project is from Poland, the Black Funeral Doom band Gortank. How come you ended with them? To playing drums for them.
They were on Metal Archives. They were just actually advertising for someone who can record drums. They weren't even looking for someone locally or anything like that. Just someone who was able to play the material and record it themselves so they can continue with the releases.
Yeah.
And I know they sent me. It was like about 3 albums worth of stuff.
Yeah, because they put, during the time you were with them, yeah, they got
Yeah.
a lot of material out, so they were pretty active, yeah.
Yeah, I did all of it, and because they actually just dismissed me as a drummer because they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna go with this other guy that I was doing drums for his band, and he doesn't do drums. He doesn't have any way to actually record. And I told him that. I said, that's hilarious. You're gonna try to replace me with a guy that can't even record drums. That's why he went to me to record his drums.
Yeah. So how do so you split up on the bad terms or just stop talking?
I just thought I stopped talking to them after that. I mean, they're like, "Oh, this is what we're gonna do." I'm like, "That's cool." I mean, it'd be nice if you actually send me the material, like you said. That was my only deal with it. It's like, if I'm recording all this, just send me a copy of the stuff that you're putting out. And I actually went and bought one of the albums just recently because they never sent me anything.
No, well, that's yeah.
That's all I've ever asked for session work. Just send me a copy of it, and like half the people never send me anything.
Oh, this sucks. Yeah. This project's also finished apparently, but I like the name. It's Immaculate Molestation, and obviously the genre is correct. It's a brutal death metal, and you've been with them just before they split up apparently. Immaculate Molestation.
It's more so the it was back on MySpace, and actually the entire band did split. And the vocalist wanted to continue the band. I don't know how we got in touch with each other, but basically I was like, I can, because he was like, I think he was putting together a new band just to do like a recording project. Yeah. So he's trying to pull a bunch of people, and I said, oh, I can, drum. He's like, okay, we just need to get a guitarist and all this. And I'm like, I can play guitar, I can play bass. And he's like, oh, well, why don't you just write the entire thing? I was like, okay. So I wrote an entire album for him, and then I spent that entire time, like from the start of whenever I joined the band, I think it was maybe a month or two, I had the album completed. And every time after that was him, like me going, hey, you going to do vocals? Yeah, I'm going to get to it. And then nothing. Oh, you're going to do vocals? Yeah, I'll get to it. And like, that's why I'm the one who actually went and like contacted Metal Archives. Like, this band's done. Obviously, Chris didn't want to do vocals. He didn't really want to do any of this. And I got tired of other people asking me about the older material. I'm like, I had nothing to do with that. I have no rights to tell you to be able to release it. It's none of my own material. I didn't write it. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Some things like that happen, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like a weird fluke with everything. I think he was putting it together because he had a deal with a Japanese label, and he didn't follow through with it, so whatever.
Yeah. Okay, and that's into active bands and projects for a while, and
okay.
We were talking about Vixenta, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah.
It's an international project based in Australia, and for a change, it spells ambient post-black.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, another band from Metal Archives where they were looking. This is the guy that replaced me in Girthang.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, and also apparently there's some connection with the Plague Doctor.
Yeah, that he wanted to. I don't know if he actually sent me any material. He talked about it, and he wanted me to drum on that. It's supposed to be death metal. The entire band, as far other than drums, is him and Plague Doctor. I don't know. I don't know what he's up to. He contacts me randomly out of the blue. His Facebook goes up, goes down. Sometimes he hits me on email, then he just disappears for months or years.
Yeah. Well, but at least maybe a type of persona, like keeping it cult. You never know.
I guess so. I mean, keeping it cult, but you're not releasing too much. I mean, that's why, like, I think I'm not on any full album with Vixenia. It's all just okay, this drum track and these drum tracks, and okay, redo this one. Okay, well, whatever. I mean, I don't dictate how they want to release stuff. I just this is your band. You do it as you wish.
Yeah. And the last of the inactive ones I'm gonna discuss with you is Your End, and this is you folded up, or it folded up this year. What happened?
Dan basically just did not want to pursue any further. He sent me 2 songs. It was basically a whole new lineup besides Dan, the guitarist. Got rid of the singer, or the singer bowed out. I don't know whichever way it went. We got Peter from I think it's Bloodspore, but no, Disgusted Geist. I don't know why I said Bloodspore, but he was doing vocals, and I got one of my friends to do like some ambient keyboards and soundscape to replace the guy that was doing that portion. Dan wrote 2 songs. It was going to come out as an EP. I tracked the bass on it, and I tracked the drums. I think Peter did the vocals for the second song, which is a shorter, it was like brutal death metal sounding. And the other song was a longer piece, I think like 7 or 8 minutes, kind of a doom piece.
Yeah.
And he never got around to doing that vocals. And I guess Dan got sick of notifications on Facebook and just said, band's done. I don't want to do anything else. I was like, well, we can release this last thing. He's like, nah, piss on it. I don't care about that. Don't care about any of, I think, Hateful Transgression, because he was going to start writing for that band. He decided, nah, I don't want to do that either anymore. I don't want to have nothing to do with either of these bands. I was like, okay, well, it's your stuff. I don't care.
Yeah. What can you do? Yes.
Exactly. Okay. If you don't have the passion to do it, then just okay, don't do it.
Let's move from this depressive stuff to something, to cheer us up, and let's talk about active bands again. And we're starting, and this is from the your Facebook band page. The band, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. It's Inw or Invites, the black metal stuff.
The one that's Inw ID.
Yes, I don't know how you pronounce that.
I don't even know how to pronounce it. I didn't stick with it.
Oh my god!
That one actually folded up as well.
I will pronounce it Inwit, and that's it.
Yeah, Inwit would be best. But that one has folded up as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The singer had, I guess, some issues with the guitarist, and it was like an international type project. The singer's in the Netherlands. I don't know why I keep on wanting to say Norway, but he's in the Netherlands. I think the guitarist is from around that area, and I recorded 2 songs on drums. I think he started doing vocals on one song, and then he had some bitch fight, I guess you can say, with the guitarist, and he's like, no, I don't want to do this now, blah. That's why we got a new project going. He's I can't even pronounce that one. EVAR, something, whatever the hell. I can't remember the damn name. I'm just as bad about pronunciation and remembering my own damn band names.
Yeah. Okay. And this next one coming from the Facebook mention as well, and is Gore Grind, noise grind stuff. It's called the Defilement Archives. What can you tell us about? What can you tell us about that?
That's actually with Dan from Your End. I'm actually going to be redoing some drums for that. It was originally going to have Ryan from Internal Bleeding doing vocals. Yeah, Ryan, the
really?
bassist.
Nice one.
Yeah, he was going to. The thing is, we had already tracked a whole bunch of material and gave it to him. He never got around to doing any of it, so I'm going to do the vocals now. It's just, it's all distorted bass. There's no guitar. And I don't have the material any longer because that computer died. Dan doesn't have the material any longer that we originally tracked. So just kind of starting over again now, and I'm going to probably do that, in the next couple of weeks. Get that situated, and we can get that up and running, because I don't know why people keep on liking a page that has exactly 0 music on it.
Well, there's a cult of personality, I would say.
I guess, I don't know. Like I keep on, I'm like, I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah.
Why? You just like it because it's Gore Grind. That's it. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's probable explanation. I will struggle with the pronunciation now. Yeah, so excuse me. It's the band Cranial Exsanguination or something like that.
Oh, you got that properly. It's cranial exsanguination.
Yeah, but I can't pronounce it that quickly, so I will be like spelling, Yeah, for me it's a tongue twister. Sorry about that. Yeah, and that's also mentioned on the Facebook. So what can you say about that?
It's actually a local band here. It's my friend Anthony, who also plays in Hollowed Idols. I played in a Reign of Abaddon with him whenever they lost a drummer, and they asked me to basically learn the set in a little less than a week or maybe it was a full week before a show, because their drummer quit right before. But yeah, it's pretty much just a slam project. We played a bunch of shows. We recorded a couple of times and scrapped the stuff. Now, like, I just released a single that we tracked, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And we have 3 other songs. I'm going to see if I'm going to put all 4 of them together for an EP release. I just have to reamp the guitars on the original 3, because those were with a 5152, and this one was with a Crate Stealth, and they sound vastly different. But I like the Crate Stealth sound a lot more.
Yeah. And going from slam, we were going to heavy metal. We were talking about the band yesterday, for briefly, and it is Church of Axe. And for people who don't know about it, this is basically heavy metal, or power metal,
Yeah,
like more like a heavy metal.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, all right.
And I was able to listen to all these 4 songs available, and I really like it. So if you can share some info about it, because I think that there might be a few people watching this interview being interested in that.
Yeah, it actually started with the singer Kyle and his friend Kiz from like back in high school, and they reconnected a couple of, or I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago, and started writing these songs. And then Kyle decided to like, oh, you know what, we should play live. I want to play this for this. And he got in contact with me, because I knew him from my friend Chris Lamey, because he brought him over whenever Chris came and picked up a guitar cab that I built for him. I met him, kind of talked with him a little bit, and the whole interview process for that, he's like, hey, you do all that double bass stuff, right? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I've built my entire brand drumming around. Okay, good. Can you play stuff like this? And he sent me one of the tracks. I'm like, yeah, I can play that in my sleep. Like, would you like to play for it? And I'm like, absolutely. I love this type of material. I mean, I was like, it sounds like Judas Priest. So yeah. I'm all in it. And we played one show. Guitarist got, I guess, huge amount of stage fright for the next show that we were going to play with High on Fire. And we had to back out like 2 weeks beforehand, because, he's principal songwriter. He's principal lead guitarist. So, can't really play without him. I mean, we could have half-assed it, but it wouldn't have sounded as good. I mean, you would miss melodies, all the harmony, half the solos would be gone. So that fell apart. Kyle decided to bring it back a couple of different times with different people. And then the last time we actually got a solid group of guys together, and we opened up a British Lion, and we were going to start booking shows, and then, this whole global pandemic happened. So kind of like a backstarter. I know that Kyle and Kiz are writing some more songs right now. So hopefully that'll, transpire a little bit quicker. Because I know
Yeah.
Kyle really would like to play more shows. I'd like to actually release some, music.
Yeah. How you feel going from the genre to genre? Obviously from going from gore grind or brutal death metal to power metal and heavy metal, it's completely different experience. How you adjust, how you adapt to that?
I've always approached drumming according to whatever genre I'm playing. Each genre gives me something that satisfies me internally on what I want to do. If I just want to play blast beats, that's why I have a gore grind band or all the numerous grind bands that I do. If I want to, play traditional, 8 count and 16 count double bass, with lots of great melodies and shit like that. Yeah, I play power metal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fulfilling, I guess you can say. I mean, I don't like how some people only stick with one band and then they try to cram every type of influence into it, and it doesn't come out as a solid whole. It sounds like a guy trying to cover a bunch of different songs in one band, and you're like, oh, that's part there sounds good. It doesn't sound good next to this part. That's great that you had some Iron Maiden sounding leads here, but then you followed up with like some sloppy blast beats with some sloppy death metal riffs. It just ends up sounding like a mess of shit. That's why I'd rather have any genre I'm doing separated.
Yeah.
It's each one of them that I do more pure. If I want to pull other influences, I am very selective, and I know how to incorporate the next, element that I want to put into a project or band. So I always can adjust.
Yeah. So basically, genre purist. Yeah.
Yes, I really am. I mean, if I'm going to go for something, I want to go for directly like that. I'll draw direct influences from like the masters of that. If I want to do cavern core death metal, I'm just listening to Incantation and Crucifixion and shit. I can't even think what I was trying to band I was thinking of, but
Yeah.
originally,
I got you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and from the heavy metal stuff, we go in the opposite direction and slowing down. And you already mentioned that your band or a project. I'm not gonna pronounce it correctly. Isorderex.
Wazorderex. I mean,
Isorderex.
there's no true pronunciation of it.
Yeah,
It's
it's a Cliff Barker's Imagica. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So whatever he will choose, that's sad. Yeah.
They even said in the beginning of the book, or I think they have like a little slight glossary, if I recall, and it had there's no proper pronunciation of this word. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, okay, well, I'm gonna call it however the fuck I feel like now.
Yeah, but that's gives you the freedom to call it what you want.
Yeah, that way anybody who pronounces it however they want to, they're correct.
Yeah, and obviously, how's the writing process in that? Because obviously, it's a lot of material, and how you go with that, and
It,
what's the main focus of this project or band?
it's more of a drone doom, little bit of death influence. I mean, I think the death tag that it gets is more so with the vocals that I use, which is deep gutturals. But more of it is kind of a drone doom project, kind of like Canate or
So it's like
very.
it's like for a relaxation, yeah.
I guess you could say. I mean, I love it when people sit down, listen to it, and they tell me like, "This is just horrible. I don't feel good after listening to it." I'm like, "Good. That was the entire point.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I was
supposed to
asking.
be
Yeah,
good music."
yeah.
Writing process is easy.
Obviously, it's an individual reaction to it because somebody say, "Oh my God, that's what I wanted to hear," So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people say it like that, but they also like depressive or I guess depressive is not a proper term. It's oppressive. It's suffocating. It's
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I wanted to envelop you and then just cease your will to live.
Oh, well, that's well said. One of the first bands you can find about from you on the Metal Archives is 54R. What does it stands for? This name?
It's the bullet that a Drogue
Oh,
rifle uses. Yeah, it basically is a bullet.
oh, yeah. But when you mentioned Dragunov, that's another project of yours. I'm gonna ask about it a little bit later. This 54R is a Dead Black grindcore band. How does that all work together? Because obviously it's that and grindcore. Obviously it can be
Yeah.
that black. What's the black metal element in that?
I think it more comes from the. I use a lot of extended chords, a lot of dissonant chords, and trailing them out like second wave. Except instead of doing like single foot blasting, it's a lot more, bomb blasting.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think more people actually gave it that tag. I didn't actually approach it to make it blackened grindcore. It's just how
Yeah.
I wrote grind at that time. And I know the vocals are more of a a higher rasp.
Yes. Also, I wanted to ask this one. Because no. Yeah. Are we here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In
We got a little bit lag now.
this way.
We got the lag here. Wait a second. We're going. Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's got better. Yeah. Don't go into the tunnel.
Okay. Uh, I'm gone.
Yeah. Don't go here. Yeah. So, do you prefer to work alone on the project, or do you prefer doing like a cooperation, like a teamwork?
I get more. I think I can get more done as a single artist. I do like working in a band. It really depends on how I approach the band. I come together with a couple of people, and then that's awesome. That's how I want to do everything. Or if they are going to do the principal songwriting, and I just kind of
Yeah. I
I don't mind doing that.
Yeah. Jared, you cutting off again. The video is definitely cutting. Yeah, that's better. Getting there. Yeah. So before oh yeah, it's getting better. Yeah. Now it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
Do
Yeah.
I need to start on that?
Yeah. Okay. So next question. We're not even in half. Yeah, we're not in half. So it's a black metal genre, and the project or the band is called Ange de la Mort. If I excuse my French. Yeah, so it's Angel of Death.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and how you choose the genre to work with? Like, is it like I'm in certain mood? So okay, like for say, I feel like doing black metal, so I'm going with the black metal, or is it any
No,
any methods to that?
um, you actually have it nailed pretty much correct. If I get in a particular mood to do something, that's what I'm going to be doing. And, like Ange de la Mort came upon, I wanted to do dissonant black metal. And I set out to do that.
Yeah,
Something.
I'm losing you. I'm losing you again. Unfortunately.
Let me
Yeah, we need to.
try a different.
Yeah, let's see if some. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's much better, I would say.
Okay, well, I'm going to step outside for a second. That might help clear everything out.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so we can continue. Yeah,
That's much better.
Oh, I think that's better. That's much better.
Okay, well then this will be fine. I can just camp out near this van.
Yeah, no, don't worry, that's okay.
I know. Sorry about that, but yeah. Um, Anytime I approach any type of project, it's more so I wanted to do that particular style. It's very rare that I end up writing something that I don't even have a title or idea in mind.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's only happened twice.
how come?
Um, because I was, let's say, I know specifically with Mountain of Beard, that came across because I was tracking for kamikaze pilots, doing power violence, and I basically wrote this 3 minute long kind of doomy sludge song, and I was like, it doesn't really fit for kamikaze pilots, and so I just put it off to the side, and as I was still tracking for kamikaze pilots, I kept on coming up with all these kind of doomy, sludgy songs. So I just kept on throwing them off to the side, and then I just combined them all under Mountain of Beard because they all sounded similar because I was in that type of mindset.
Hmm. Yeah, I see. I
And
see what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, and the other one was I was tracking for louching, and some of the stuff that I came up with sounded more like beat down hardcore. I guess
Yeah.
that's the best you can say. So I got 3 tracks of that thrown off to the side that I'm going to use for a project called Coast Trash.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh, Basically, just calling out people down here that are, trash.
Yeah. This one is gonna be interesting, and we briefly talked about that yesterday. We have a chat, and the band is called Bloodsick.
Yes.
Yeah, this is quite a veteran of the scene because it dates to 1996. And let's talk about the lineup because obviously there was quite a few changes in there. But it's Todd Tozeski from Nunslaughter fame, also Chris Dora, and he was with
Yes.
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I can hear you fine. The car passed by, but I was just listening to your
Yeah, no
question.
worry. Yeah, so there's a Chris Dora on drums. He was decrepit and live drummer for Incantation, and also
Yes.
quite a few members of Soulless. So obviously it's death metal, and the lyrics involved Lovecraft and among other topics. So how you end up doing the vocals for them?
Um, well, Todd actually contacted me just originally it was just about some paintings. He friended me on Facebook. I didn't even know it was him from Nunslaughter. I just, accepted it as okay, metal guy that now lives in New Orleans, maybe whatever. He bought a couple of paintings. Then he wanted to come over and talk gear because he saw that I built guitar cabs, and it kind of just snowed from there. He was planning on putting a band together. He wanted to get a guitar cab. Wanted to try out a couple of different heads before he went and bought one because I have a mass of different guitar heads, and that was what he originally came over for. Was that? I mean, after he bought a painting and all that, he came over, tried the Laney Ironheart. He's like, okay, this is perfect. This is the head I want. I love this. And he bought that. Then started putting the band together, and he's like, hey, you want to sing? I'm bringing Blood Sick back. I'm like, okay, do I need to start learning any of the old material or anything like that? He goes, no, I think right now we're going to focus on some originals, and then, we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, good one, good one. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Well, that's great. That's I wanted to ask, in the end of the interview, but I'm gonna ask it right now because you mentioned that you are owner of the company, or your business making the cabinets.
that's correct.
That's for the amps, I prefer. I suppose
It's the speaker boxes.
the speaker
I
boxes. Yeah.
yeah.
How did
I,
you start? How did you start it? What can you tell us about that? Because obviously
um,
it's still related to the discussion of
oh yeah,
music.
absolutely. Because especially nowadays, everything that I track with, I use my own cabs for. It's I was it came about because I was got into buying a lot of gear since I was making enough money with my actual job. So I was
Yeah.
just picking different heads to try them out. I bought a few cabs, and I was like, you know what? I'm thinking I'm going to get me a real nice cab. And I was going to go with an Emperor cab, and it was right when they were having a split with the two owners where they weren't taking any orders. They're arguing in litigation over the name. I started looking at a different other couple of companies, and I was looking at their cabs. I'm like, well, shit, I'm a damn carpenter. I've been doing that for 10 years. I'll just build my own. So
Yeah.
I sat there, researched, a lot about internal volume, the different dimensions of different cabs on what makes them sound good, basically. And then I settled on my own design, put 3 of them together, and put it up on Facebook after I put everything completely done, got my logo for Mahler, got a bunch of nameplates done up. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm going to just do it and have it out. And it just kind of exploded from there. Like the first year I did, I think I did like 20 cabs. Then the following year I did like 40. And then the year after that I did something like 60 or 70 cabs.
Nice
and then
one.
I started, but then I was like, this is, killing me. I'm doing nothing but cabs the entire time. So I actively like pulled back because, I enjoy building cabs. I enjoy making them. I just, not at the expense of, not putting out music. That's why also, if you look at Metal Archives right around, I want to say 2016, maybe 2017 is like where there's a big drop off, and then 2019 it picks up where I'm releasing music actively again, like all across the board. That's where I was like 2018. I'm like, I need to stop doing as much. I want to actually get back into doing music more because that's what I've always been. I was just doing cabs because, I'm doing a lot of projects with just me. I don't have to actually do this all the time, but it was just like, oh, this is getting depressive. Now all I do is go to work, and then I go to other work right after work instead of doing something a bit more creative. I mean, I'm creative enough in Mahler, but it's different type of creativity. I put together a cab, I stain it and polyurethane it, put it all together, get it all done. I used to enjoy taking them back to my storage unit here and trying them out. Now it's like, I know my wiring's good. I just package it up and mail it out.
Yeah. Good. That's excellent. Let's get back to the building then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a few other projects I have no information on, so I just need to ask you about. And these are the projects or bands like Boiled Tongue, Confined Space, Homie Kisses, or Popio. What can you tell us about that?
A lot of them are power violence bands. Homie Kisses is with Ethan from Junt. He, I'm friends with him on Facebook. I know him through Dan, and he was just saying, hey, who wants to do a kind of a, low impact, low like concern, meaning like we're not actively trying to push out material. I said, yeah, sure, I'm about it. I actually just sent him drum tracks, and he's going to write bass and guitar. I think he's having a problem with his recording equipment. So that's Homie Kisses. Confined Space is me and Matt Sexton that he played in Recovery Period for a while. He and I do ROM together, and he wanted to do Power Violence. And we have one tape out. We still have a bunch of tapes left because he lives in Tennessee, so he doesn't get down here as much. And we have a bunch of shirts. I think we have them up on Facebook. I don't know. He has most of the actual merch, so go bother him.
Yeah, I will give him a message, send him a message anyway, because I will ask him some stuff as well. What about the Boiled Tongue?
Boiled Tongue is another noise grind band. It's basically the fallback for my secondary YouTube channel, The Walking Blast Beat. Like, I try to create sorry, dying. a new song every day. If I don't have something already prepared, then I kind of fall back into writing grind stuff, and I do a lot of noise grind stuff, and I was just like encompass it all into this one project.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go get something to drink. I don't know why I'm dying. I guess I got the poop.
Yeah. There's another project, and we briefly mentioned it already, and it's Dragunov. That's
Yes.
yeah. What I could find is a grindcore. And how come you pick up a Chernobyl theme for the album?
We kind of went with that because we wanted, like, the first release we did is either 21 or 22 songs in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why we approach it as, it's like, this isn't just an explosion. It's like the most vicious, nasty, old school grind and power violence, like Napalm Death Scum era.
Yeah.
It's actually the vocalist from 54R on drums and me on guitar and vocals, keeping it real lo-fi. We don't have any bass on it, just complete, fast as shit. We have a split coming out with Derelict Satellites. That's Champ Morgan's noise project from Kill the Client and all his other grind bands from Texas. But yeah, I mean, we just went with that because it was fitting with the overall presentation. Nothing real particular. Like, I was like, we're going from talking about just your normal, typical disgust of everything. So
Yeah.
it was fitting. It looked proper. The aesthetics were correct, I guess you can say.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I see. In 2012, there's a project coming from that year called Corpse Arise.
Yes.
And it's interesting because on the Metal Archives there's a remark to attached to it, and I'm gonna quote it. Started as a way to use up all the unrecorded songs from another band that SLK, AKU, was relieved of duty from. So I need to ask, what band was it?
Zombie Raiders.
Oh, so you've been let go.
Yeah, Ian at one time decided that he was going to work with a guy locally to him, so they could play live. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool, whatever. I have all this material, that you never recorded to. I'm just going to use it now instead. And that was that first album, Enter the Crypts, or Empty the Crypts.
Yeah.
And I just kind of still went with, like, oh, this is some good stuff. I enjoyed writing it. I think I did 3 albums. I have an EP out that I haven't gotten the CDs in and I have another album completely written since last year that I just haven't done vocals on.
Yeah, what I want to comment on is this. When I listen to it, it got this nice old school sounds. So do you try to intentionally recreate the sound or keep it alive, if you wish, or just prefer it that way instead of like this modern, aspects into death metal or something? Just go old school all the time?
It's the aesthetic and the production that I actually enjoy. I don't like super clean stuff. I mean, I listen to it, but for stuff that I actually play in, I'm not the biggest fan of like super modern, polished sound. I like, I wanted it to sound like it was from the 80s, and I think I achieved that, and I'm going to go with that aesthetic continuing on. I mean, I like it where everything is, it's clear. You can make out the riffs, you can hear the drums, you can hear the bass clanking away, but it's still just raw as possible.
Yeah, I noticed a few, is like a recurring theme in your project that although they are classed or marked as active, some of them didn't release anything in years. For example, we already mentioned Drogue. as a death metal project, and it's the last release was 2016. So does it mean it's just like laying dormant or non-active, but it's not like officially closed?
It's not officially closed, and it's not really dormant either. I have a full album track
Oh,
ready. It was with a lot of these bands, I usually have a lot of material already completed. Some of them, it might take me a while to get to, like, the vocals are usually the thing, if I'm doing them, that take the longest. Hell, if I'm working with another person doing vocals, it seems to take them forever as well. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's just like, I actually like to spend some time putting the lyrics together, um, laying out the actual pattern that I'm going to use, and then, I mean, once I get that all done, then I can just lay a track out within one take. So I don't
yeah,
have to sit there and like worry over it. And if it's horrible, then I just delete it and do it again. But a lot of them are just like that one. I actually tracked back in not too 2017 in December, and I only did vocals, I want to say, in 2019.
oh,
Because I hadn't even thought about it. I was doing other stuff. Um, Phil Theater got signed in 2019. Hollow Idols had a couple of deals going through, and then had some issues with that. So, I was involved in other stuff basically. If it's like
yeah,
a lot of projects like that, if I'm dealing with just myself, it's usually I'm focusing on something else entirely that
yeah,
this is more, you know, important, like Inner Sphere, Ain't Doing More, Uzumaki, all those got signed to Vargeist and released albums last year. So it was like, okay, I actually don't have this material. I have to focus on getting this material done.
yeah. The same question basically could be asked about your other Death Grind project named It's Eight, and obviously
It's not actually dead either.
so it's still active.
It's still active. I have another album of that. I just haven't done all the vocals yet.
Yeah. How did you come up to release the split with Nostril Caverns?
Um, Chris actually posts on Metal Archives as well, and when I actively did, which I mainly did when I was out of town, he was posting up about Nostril Caverns, and we appreciated each other's works because we used to do like not just me and him, but some of the other musicians on the board do these like challenges that were almost not every single month. Like, okay, for this, like, say, fall period, you have, like, in September we're going to do, write a black metal song with this certain type of elements in it, or
Oh,
or write a song that is inspired by some type of painting or something that we pulled out of a hat. Like, here's like 20 different people, we pulled 20 different images, and then did a random, this is your photo, this is what you get to work with, try to
oh,
write something to this.
there's
Just something like, it was fun stuff. So that's how that kind of came. Me and him got to talking, and then I suggested, maybe we should do a split. And he was like, yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. And I was like, okay. And he's like, here's all the tracks that I'm done with. I'm like, okay, now I'll write my track so I can actually get the same amount of time, because I'm just gonna write stuff, and then when I feel that it's done, it's done. I'm like, okay, good. I was like, I hope it's not an hour long. I'm not releasing a double album with some shit.
yeah, actually, it sounds pretty cool. Your side as well, and it's it's good because it doesn't sound the same.
Yes,
Because
I
because
like.
yeah, I don't like when you get them split and you got both sides or three-way split. Get the three bands sounding exactly the same. What's the point of getting stuff like that?
I agree totally. I hate it when, like, oh, I didn't know that they changed to the other band, or I might tell
It-
because all of a sudden, like, it got dirtier sounding.
yeah, exactly. Well, another question, and we go into the band or the project inspired by Tolkien. So it's called Air Morazor,
That's right.
and that's also international project. With guy called, or with nickname Queldolf Bialafson from Chile, and he's also with you in Forest Father,
That's
and
correct.
that's also with Michael Rumpel, as far as I can find. Uh, that's the question, though. You put a lot of materials through your own label, Speed Ritual Records. But for example, this one is classed as unsigned or independent. So do you have a kind of like focus on what material you want to put out officially through your label, and this say fantasy, shall we say, is not fitting into it?
No, it was more so we were trying to push it to any other label to actually put out the material because we were really proud of it,
Uh huh.
and it just had fallen to the wayside. Like I'm going to end up releasing it on my label probably sometime this year since I don't like it sitting there rotting as digital only, but it just didn't get the traction like we really hoped it would. I mean, we got a lot of positive responses from it. We have a second album tracked, I think, aside from one song, and I haven't done the vocals on them yet either. So, I mean, there's that, but it was mainly like we were trying to like let's just put this down as unsigned and see if someone will pick it up or if someone gets interested. And we had a couple of people that basically looked at it and a couple of like I remember Unspeakable Acts. He's like, this is a lot more melodic than anything that you normally do. I'm like, well, is that a bad thing? And you're like, it's not bad. I'm just saying it's a lot more melodic than the stuff that you normally do. I'm like, well, okay, cool. And then that was about the extent of his take on it. I mean, I guess he's like, it's good. I guess, not good enough.
Yeah. Another band. Oh my god! And we're still going. We're going. Oh, it's yeah. Well, you're busy bee. It's Filth Eater,
Yes.
and I want to I stop and ponder about that because the band members are notified only by the initials. Why is that? Is it just it is intentional or just like I don't care, whatever?
It, the I did that because it's the initials of SLK and my name, JCM, and it's the numbers for my birthday, 4 and 13.
Uh huh.
The band is only me.
Yeah.
I marketed it as a full band, just
Oh.
to see. Most people did not know at all. The only person that asked anything was like I sent a copy to Matt from Dark Descent because he used to live down here, and he's like, "Oh, this is pretty awesome! Like, who are these people?" Because he lived there. He's like, "I don't know any of these people that are play death metal, at least not of this type of variety." And I
Yeah.
was like, "It's actually just all me. I've just put it down as a full band just to see if people would go, oh, this just sounds like a one guy, or is it, you know, does it sound
Yeah.
like a full band?"
Yeah.
And
Nice one. Yeah.
most people didn't even know. I mean, like I remember talking with the guys from Bonesaw over in the UK. And like, yeah, we need to get together, like when we come over and we'll do a tour and all this stuff. And I guess I'll find some people to
Yeah.
do a tour.
You cutting out again.
Oh, sorry,
So we need to
sorry.
need to go back to the safe spot.
I'm back to it now.
Yeah.
Like I
Sorry,
got one.
I know you're basically like me. I like to walk when I'm talking, especially when like in discussion. So yeah, I I definitely understand you, and it's annoying you have to stay in one one place.
I know I want to go walk outside, but it's like there's enough cars passing by. It'd be so much more exterior noise.
Yeah. Okay. And that's one of the latest bands you were in with Blake Scott and Justin Wallace. It's Flesh Configuration. And here's the thing, all three of you are also active in Petrifying Cadaverment. What's the
That's
what's the
correct.
what's the point of having two different bands with the same band members?
I think originally Flesh Configuration was going to be the band I was drumming in, and then they kicked out Evan from Putrefying and asked me to drum for that as well. So Blake is trying to actively write two different styles, like the more brutal death metal for putrefying and flesh configuration. He's actually going to push more towards a far more technical, and he was saying something along the lines of like almost shoegaze aspect, but basically shoegaze, except I'm playing blast beats over it. And I'm really interested in hearing the newer material because these songs are written prior to me joining Putrefying, and so I know he's going to adjust his songwriting for the next, like, I think full-length album that's supposed to be sometime this year. I know he has a couple of other projects that he's currently in the middle of tracking for. So whenever he gets back to Flesh, then he's gonna, I guess send me the songs. I mean, I talk to him and Justin about every day in one of the group chats.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, when's some stuff coming? And he's like, whenever I roll off your mom. I'm like, that's great. That's dork as hell. Why'd you have to be that way?
Yeah. In 2020, so that this current year, also all projects of yours, Flittering released a new album, new material, and that's going from 2013. So in 7 years, what can you tell us about that? It's a death metal project, so something you love.
It is something I enjoy. I actually picked this specific name because there was this. It's a scam type of thing that was going around about this Death Doom band that came out like in the early 80s, and it turned out to be just someone took a Forgotten Tomb songs and pitch shifted them, slowed them down, and added a ton more reverb and tape noise, and then said, oh yeah, it's this band Flittering. And I was arguing with someone. I was like, no, this has actually been proven. This band never has existed before. And they're like, no, it has. I'm just going to go actively make a goddamn band just to claim the name, just to piss people off, basically. I mean, it doesn't piss many people off because nobody even heard of this Death Doom band that never existed either. But I've only had like 2 people ask about that, if it was any connection to the one from the early 80s that I'm like, it didn't exist. It's bullshit. But I mainly wanted to do like the music itself. I wanted to kind of do like a doomy Portal type of stuff. And I kind of added a bunch more different, I guess, dissonant. I mean, Portal's dissonant anyway, but I don't know. It kept on encroaching longer and longer, and taking on more Doom elements, some more staccato type riffing than they actively do. I don't know. I hadn't touched it since so long ago, and I said, it's been a while since I've actually done any material for this. I got more free time to be able to do it, so I actively, wrote the album last year and finished up the vocals, I want to say, earlier this year, and finally decided to release it. Like, I already had the artwork and everything completed, and the layout. I just, stop being lazy.
Your death metal act, Hallowed Idols, it's basically a band who, apparently, according to Metal Archives, never got from the demo stage, because I got this just a demo stage. They never released like a full length, like official CD or nothing. So any bands for any news for this band in 2020?
Yeah, it's continuing on. We're going to have a full length album. It does not have either guitarists that were on the demo. I mean, we did have one EP that Speed Ritual had released. I mean, but it's the same, not the first demo, but the second one, the Ascended Morbidity. But there's been an issue with basically the guitarist. The lead guitarist, he dropped out because he didn't want to play live anymore. He wanted to, had some issues with, I guess mentally with that. that's fine. You know, I haven't talked to him in a while, but then the other guitarist and vocalist, he wanted to basically just take the name and move it with this other guitarist and work with the guys from Ecto Void, and they decided to just use a different name, that was my main thing. I was like, I don't mind you leaving. I don't mind you taking the other material that you wrote. You know, I came up with the name though.
Yeah.
So they actively have not used the name. So now that I know that for sure, because I didn't talk with that guitarist, I'm moving ahead with the original bassist from Holland, and I have one guitarist that I'm going to talk to that I actually did Seppuku with back in the day, and see if he is interested. And I think he would be. He hasn't done anything, actively for a while. I mean, he has some other recording projects, but I don't know if any of that has been released yet.
Yeah. That's one we will be another things to talk about. We'll be talking about the inner sphere, and I noticed that one of the lyrical themes is Max as the Mech Warrior. So I assume you were playing Mech Warrior 2 or something like that, or BattleTech stuff.
It was. I mean, the main one I actually was playing one of the one that I played the most was a Sierra game that wasn't BattleTech. It wasn't Mech Warrior, but it was one of those off-brand type of PC games that they just had mechs in it, where you go out, destroy, you can collect the scrap and then rebuild your mech, and have a whole garage system of them. I can't remember the exact name, but
it does ring a bell, but I can't remember that either. That was a long time ago. That we're talking about. Yeah.
I actually still have the game somewhere in my spare bedroom where I keep all my old PC games and Sega games and Nintendo and bullshit like that. So somewhere in there.
Yeah. A fan of the mech-related movies like Robot Jokes, Crash and Burn.
I actually haven't watched either of those.
Oh.
So, I mean, the closest I ever watched was Pacific Rim.
Yeah. Although that's.
I mean, it's not quite the same.
It's not quite. Yeah.
I mean, but that's close. Like, I didn't really watch that. I do like, I just recently bought Mech Warrior 5, I want to say, and I've been meaning to sit down. I'm probably going to do that sometime today, since I actually don't have to do any major work. Like, for the last month, I've been painting houses on the weekend, so, don't have any of that today, thank God.
Yeah, but finally. Yeah, but as the lyrical concept of, obviously the warfare, and the Mech Warriors throw into it, it's really caught my attention. And we'll go forward with that, because Inner Sphere's album Chaos and Warfare, and also some other bands of yours, the releases of your bands, were being released by Wargeist Records, which I think is a vocalist from one band of yours. I can't remember. It's
Flesh Configuration, Putrefying Cadaverment.
Yes, exactly.
Morgue Walker.
Yeah, so there's a Maggot Crown released, the material release. Uzumaki's 2 albums on the reissue, and they were originally issued through your label. So that does it mean you want to concentrate more on music and less on actually producing selling stuff or running the label?
Actually, yeah, I would say that I don't mind running the label. I mean, the label is more of a vanity label. I release basically only myself. Even though people still send me demos or links to their demos, and I'm like, I'll take a listen. I'm not gonna probably sign it. I tell them that right out. Oh, just take a listen to it. You might want it. I'm like, I only have enough money to put into myself. I'm a narcissist. I'm selfish like that, I guess you can say. I mean, I remember telling that to one person who all he did was hit me up and go, I want to get signed to your label. How do I do that? I said, write some material I actually want to be on, and then I would release it. And he goes, well, I already have this stuff. What do you think of it? I said, it's nice, but I'm not going to release it. So what do I have to do? I said, I don't know, win $1 million and start your own fucking label.
Yeah, it maybe
I can't
that's
tell you before playing.
what
But
you're a professional musician. What really drives people to get signed? Because nowadays obviously we live in the age you can actually do it yourself.
yes, I think at least for me, it's you have someone else that's going to help promote that material. Like there's only so much time in the day for me to be able to like put it all together, do the layout and all that, and then also have to continuously make sure it's in the eyes of people. I mean, that's the worst part that I am is the marketing and the promotion of something. Usually I will post about it on Instagram and Facebook, and that would be the end of it. I mean, I'll post about it a few times. I don't have all the other channels and avenues like through different YouTube channels, like how Justin does, or he knows how to like I've tried contacting like Grind War and Gore Death, whatever the hell I can't remember, but they're like, oh well, we only really put out stuff that we like or something, and except I know Gore Grinder put out some of my stuff before, except it wasn't because I asked him. He just, I guess, liked it, so that was kind of cool. But I don't know the whole, I guess, networking aspect to it because I'm too blunt about it. I just don't like doing that. So it's easier for someone to sign, especially like with Justin. He's really good at marketing. He knows how to put together a release, how to do a proper release schedule. Usually, as soon as I'm done with it, I only set it out far enough after I have ordered the CDs. Like, yeah, they should be here around this date. And, sometimes I hit the mark correct. And sometimes I'm like, oh, it's about a week or two later they actually show up.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier than that, especially with Justin, who will also, he likes buying different art. So I don't have to actually create all the art like I do with a lot of my releases.
Yeah. We'll get back to Doom Sludge genre, and you already mentioned that you back in 2007 you were with Matthew Sexton in Rome.
That's
I couldn't find any information about him. Who is he?
He did a lot of I guess punk bands and some kind of power violence bands in New Orleans. I mean, he's always been around that type of scene. He played in 100 Eyes with Andy from Thou. He played in We Need to Talk. I think Andy was also drumming in that as well. I think he was going to be involved in one power violence band called You Sunk My Battleship, except that kind of fell apart, and those guys went on to start Fat, Stupid, Ugly People. No, he actually, because he was friends with Mitchell Gruich and me from just all the shows that we would play over there at the Bank Street Warehouse, because he was always there with it. He ended up joining Recovery Period, and he played with us for about 2 years, and then he dropped out. Then he decided he wanted to do a sludge band. He got in contact with me and actually one of the old drummers from Recovery Period, and just started doing, started putting together all these songs. We probably wrote, I want to say, close to 16 songs, but we only really, I think, played 8 of them, maybe, sometimes only 6. But it was a great experience because we played so many great shows, like, played with Bloody Panda, Mouth of the Architect, Zoroaster, Lair of the Minotaur, and we were actually getting a fucking Hatred Surge. I think it was Hatred Surge, maybe it was Mammoth Grinder. Either way, we started getting a pretty big following, and like people would come up and like be like singing the lyrics back to me, and I'm like, I know you're not saying them right. 'Cause I'm not even saying that, but that's cool. But it was pretty good. And then he opted to go join the Coast Guard, so that kind of put a damper on it. Ryan left to go pursue other interests, business wise, and so now with Rom, every once in a while, like seems like every year we might do a show or a few shows. I actually went to drumming instead of playing bass and doing vocals, and I just drum and do vocals while he plays guitar. Um, no, it's still fun. We tried recording a couple other times besides that demo, and they all kind of don't work out as we want.
Yeah.
And the last time we recorded was right before my last recording computer died, so lost that session. So maybe we'll try again. Who knows?
Yeah. Also, another cooperation I want to talk about is in the band or the project called Scowl with David DeSalvo, and also it is one of the persons I can't find any information about him. So, what can you tell him about him?
He keeps to himself for the most part. The only reason I came talking with him, I want to say, was I can't remember if it was off of Metal Archives or off Facebook. I really don't even remember exactly how we came in contact, and decided to set up a jam session. And we eventually wrote and recorded all those songs in a single day. And then I went back and did the vocals about a week later and mixed everything down and got it out. Then he kind of just fell off the face of the earth for a while. He came back over. He wanted to do this kind of weird, sludgy, like, it's kind of Southern rock, but it was like far more technical Southern rock. Like, okay, you're going to play some Vox blues type stuff. He said you're going to do it like, what's his stupid name? Eric Johnson. Like, okay, this is not even like a proper 4/4. It's more, you're doing some odd, like a 9/8 or something. And I'm like, okay, I mean, you still want it to be a
Jared,
yeah.
Can you go back to the place you've been? You cut it again.
I'm getting my drink. My throat's drying now.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever talked this much.
Yeah, well, because you start cutting, so. And we almost, believe me or not, we're almost done.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
a few more questions, obviously, but we're almost done.
Yeah. Good deal. Yeah, but we're supposed to be doing. We have a power violence band that we're doing. I can't remember the name of, but he came over. I want to say a month ago, and we recorded 5 or 7 songs. I don't remember exactly, and I just gotta mix that stuff down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the last of your one-man projects to discuss is a black metal project, Subterranean Birthright. And I have to say, whenever I hear the word, subterranean, it occurs to me like getting something with the Hollow Earth or something.
That's a good point with that. It wasn't exactly like Hollow Earth theory. It's basically, to me, the name means, born of hell, basically.
Yeah,
it's actually a song title.
Yeah, because obviously I was thinking about the underworld, but then subterranean, I got associated more with the Hollow Earth because I'm a fan of the theory. Not that I'm gonna pursue it and create a new religion, but yeah, I like the theory.
Yeah. I like the theory as well. I've read up quite a bit on it, and I just like that idea of it. At least it's like it's an interesting concept. Not saying that.
Exactly, yeah. And that's about it. Yeah, it's an interesting theory. That's it. End of. Now, I don't want to say it's gonna be the best for last because it would shows a bad light on what we were talking before, but yeah, you can say that with the band called Occult, because obviously the lineup is interesting. We're talking Justin Stops of Encofination and Father Befault, and also Ken Parker and his with his own shitloads of band, being involved. So you three, you are quite active guys in the U.S. underground. So you released this year. You released your second demo. So what we can expect, in the near future from the band?
Very near future, a full-length album. Most likely there's going to be 10 tracks. I just literally yesterday finished tracking 15 songs.
Whoa.
So Justin's going to pull what he likes the best for this album and then send that to Ken to do vocals. He already has a not song title, but a album title for it. It's going to be real good Finnish death metal. It's going to be awesome. It's just, Justin decided he wanted to do this project. I'm honored to be working with him with it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, another interesting act, and this international as well, is from Singapore, and it's called Oshigo, if I pronounce it correctly.
I think it is. I've always been saying Oshiago, but
Oshiago.
I might be pronouncing it wrong because, of course, it's my American tongue down in the South. So
yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I would go with this. My tongue would go like Oshigo, Oshigo, whatever. And
you're probably closer to the pronunciation than I am.
Yeah, the interesting aspect is that I was checking the reviews of their stuff, and they got pretty good reviews. So how come you end up, drumming for them?
I know Brian, the guitarist, also from Metal Archives. I've known him for quite a few years through that, just talking with him. I remember when he actually joined the band, and they lost their drummer, or they couldn't put up with him either way. I mean, he was just being pretty much a shitbag, as Brian was describing it. And after that point, he's like, he asked me to do artwork for the Bridges album. And so, I did that artwork. And then after that, he's like, we're doing a new album. You want to drum on it? I'm like, yeah, I'm more than thrilled to do so. And, we put out the book of whatever the goddamn it, Umar, with his song, Book of Shadows, I think it is. And, did the artwork for that one as well. Real good experience. Brian has since decided to not pursue playing guitar anymore, or at least not in that style. And Umar just got a new guy, and he has, I think, 10 songs written. He's already sent me 4 of them to start tracking for the new album. So I might start on that today. I mean, I actually started the other day. I recorded one song as a demo to how I'm going to approach the drums. He's like, okay, that's perfect. I said, good. Now I'll square it up and tighten up everything now that I know this is, the approach you want me to take with it.
Mm-hmm. And this one is for me, it's exceptional project because obviously it's the one and only project with a female vocalist. Is that your wife singing?
That is my wife.
Oh, because I was just going with the hunch with the just initial of the surname, so I was like, that might be actually Jared's wife. So how that's only obviously one release, if I'm not correct, mistaken. How did you come up with the idea to cooperate with your wife? It was just like, what, honey, let's start in and sing.
Kind of like that. I mean, she's always been into this style of music, and she was mimicking some like the vocals from Beharit on something. I was like, you actually would be a really good vocalist for something like that. She said, I don't want to, and I kind of finally convinced her to do it for one EP, for the first EP, and I was like, well, look, if I write songs that you want to sing to, or you feel that you can, would you do it? And she finally said, yeah. And I said, what do you want me to do? And she goes, she basically like blasphemy, Beharit, Vaughn, just disgust. I was like, okay, I can do that. And did that first self-titled EP. Then we decided to go ahead and do a full length. I mean, the full length's only like 20 minutes, but she wanted songs to be a little bit longer. and I pretty much like wrote and presented her the songs as I went, and if she liked it, okay, good, square, put that off to the side, and she did the whole album at one take. Anything, or not one take, but like in one day or in 2 days. Then we did another follow-up EP after that one. That's almost as long as the full-length album with 3 songs, and everything longer. I guess more expansive. Growth in the. But I don't think we're going to be doing much anything else. She really doesn't want to do any more vocals, basically, for that band. So I guess you can say that's on indefinite hiatus.
Yeah. Well, so, shame, because it was quite cool, and you can actually work together because you don't have to, depending on like where the other member come in, because you're together. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
I mean, I
Okay.
enjoyed it. I know she enjoyed it at the time, but she doesn't really feel like doing any more with it. So
Yeah.
I can honor that.
Yeah. Okay, and we got 2 bands for the end, and one is Exward, or whatever it's pronounced, because
Yeah.
I asked Ian how to pronounce it correctly, and we were going with Exward, whatever. So obviously,
don't listen to him. He don't know nothing.
and by the time it went by Itaka name, which I take is from Lovecraft lore. But and as I mentioned, you play here with our mutual friend Ian Burbling. And the second band, also with Ian, is Zombie Raiders. And
Absolutely.
I did the review of Zombie Raiders' last 3-way split, so those listeners who read the Rubber X webzine might know about it. And how did you two meet? Because obviously he's from New York, upstate, and you're from, I think, Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken.
You're correct.
Yeah, so there's a little bit, traveling distance from that,
Yeah, big time. A good 3 days drive or something
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
Yeah, something like that. But I think it was through MySpace, and it was he contacted me for Filth Eater, wanting to release an EP when he was going to do that label. I was one of the bands that he reached out to, and through talking with him, and we exchanged numbers, and I talked to him on the phone, and he eventually asked me to do guitars for Zombie Raiders. I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that, and wrote songs, sent them back and forth. With the other 2 bands was Ithaquah and Vart or X-Mart or whatever the hell he wants to call it. He basically just like, hey, you want to also do this? I'm like, yeah, sure, send me stuff, or whatever, how you want me to approach it. And I mean, it's just really that simple. I mean, I've known him for what, fucking 7 years now or something. He's getting uglier every single day. Even that beard showing off that weird baby face.
Oh my God! I saw that yesterday. I was like, "What the hell you did?" With your beard. But hey, change.
He looks like an old man that was a baby, or a baby that's an old man. It's just awful.
Oh my God, he's gonna hate us for that, But
this on you, Ian. Send me some more drum tracks.
Yeah. Okay.
Finish the vocals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's definitely. I told him that. You know that. I told him that.
Yes, I did. I watched the interview. That was awesome. Yeah. So let me say that again, Ian. Finish the vocals. Malformed tunic. You suggested this. I did it for you, and then you don't finish.
Yeah. Also, so you already mentioned some plans for your bands. Anything else you might add as for the plans for near future, say for this year? What you plan to release? Any new project?
Yeah, the Tactic Annihilation, that's going to be coming out relatively soon. I don't just basically whenever the vocal tracks finally come out with that's going to be, I don't know, probably going to be June or July. Macridia has a album coming out June 15th. It's going to be a co-release with Vargeist and Speed Ritual. The full featured film. we're actually going to have probably 2 releases out this year. I have to finish the artwork for both of them and the vocals for the second album. We already have all the music tracked. I already mentioned the Cults. We got a full length coming out sometime this year. We have the Obsidian Hooves, since we just finally decided on that name. Still need the rest of those vocal tracks, and actually I have to start drawing up the logo for that because I don't think that we have anybody in mind to do it for us. I think that's the main projects that are coming out. I know I'm tracking a new Uzumaki album. I started a couple of times and scrapped the material. You know, that one takes a little bit more time to actually compose and to get it to sound where it doesn't sound like a ton of trash.
Yeah, for those interested in to get in touch with you, whether it's to be like with information about your projects and bands or your releases, or just to get to set up some cooperation with you, maybe for any future, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I would say right now, Facebook or my email. Facebook, it's Jared Cave Moran. At least send a message or something. Or a friend request with why you're talking to me if I don't know you, or just send it to my email, which is shaolinlandkiller@gmail.com. I'm more than happy to talk or work with anybody, or if you want to tell me what a piece of shit I am, I'm cool with that. I'm an adult. I don't get upset.
Yeah, so for people to be prepared, that's the question. How easygoing as a person to cooperate with, are you like,
depends on I have to really say depends on the project. I would like to say that I'm very easy with, especially if it's somebody coming to me with a project that they already have the music for, then I'm more than happy to kind of just follow in line with what you want me to do. If it's something that we're co-collaborating with, I will push back against ideas I think are trash, and I will tell you directly they're trash. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If it's something like some of my other bands or some other projects I used to work with people with, I'm going to do this way, and you don't like it, I mean, the door's right over there. I'll just do it my hands.
Oh, tough, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I go with degrees.
Yeah. So that's you're easygoing. Yeah, I will go with that.
Yeah. I'm easygoing until I'm not. I start getting pushy after a certain point. The only reason I'm still, I haven't done the vocals for the shit that with Ian is because I'm friends with Ian. Unfortunately, I don't know why. Trash.
Yeah. Okay, that will be all for this interview for today, because obviously I'm pretty sure that in the year you will get like 20 other projects with million other releases, so we will get another interview, just to cover that. Yeah, so
I'm more than happy to.
Yeah, so for the final message, what would your message to the viewers, to the listeners of the Rubber Axe, this Armchair interview, what would it be?
Disgust.
Okay, I can go with that. Okay, thank you, Jared, for your time. And hopefully this should be up next Monday. So
okay,
I'll obviously I will send you the link, and we'll see what people will say about that.
Excellent. I should be unbanned by Facebook by then.
Okay, so see you soon, and take care, and stay safe, obviously, during this coronavirus shit. So that's
absolutely
most important.
And you stay safe as well. It was an excellent interview, and I thank you for your time interviewing me, talking about my most favorite thing, myself.
Yeah. Okay. So take care and talk later.
All right. Talk to you later.